Okay, in this video, something a little bit different. I'm going to compare the features from the Bernina Designer Plus software with the Bernina Creator software. Both softwares are excellent, and it really depends on your needs, what you really want to do. The Creator software is the scaled down version of the full Designer Plus software, so it has less features, but it's still quite capable of digitizing from graphics using some manual tools or the auto digitizing tools, which have been updated in version 9 and are better than they have been. They were good in version 8, but they're even better now. Auto digitizing always has some drawbacks, but you can always edit your auto digitized designs to make them even better. So let's get straight into it. This is the workspace that opens when you open a new design in the Bernina Designer Plus. So it's a good way to compare the two levels of the software by checking out the different tools available in the software. So I've got some images that I took of the toolbars in the creator level, so I'm going to bring up the first one now. We'll start at the top toolbar. Okay, so I'll just bring that down a little bit. So here is your top toolbar here for Designer Plus, and here it is for the creator level here. In the lower one, I've taken a picture. Now, at first glance, they look almost identical. So there's not a lot of difference between the top toolbar. You've got the same file, edit, view, design, arrange, artwork, settings, window and help in your top menu. Then if we start at the top left, you've got your home button. That's available in both the creator and the Designer Plus, and that will take you back to the home page. That is what opens first of all when you open your software, and there you can access, if you're online, you can access tutorials from Bernina and all sorts of other information. So it's a quick shortcut back there. The next icon, I'm not really sure whether this is in the creator level software, this artwork canvas icon. I have got the dealer version, which has both versions, Designer Plus and Creator, packaged together so that I can use both of them for teaching purposes. So thank you very much, Bernina Australia, for that. Now, this icon here is in Designer Plus, it takes you to the artwork canvas, which is basically the Corel draw that comes with Designer Plus embedded into the software in its own user interface so that you can create drawings there. You can open the Corel draw standalone as well that comes with it. You don't get the Corel draw with Creator, the creator level. So as I said, I'm not sure if that icon should be there. The next icon is your Embroidery Canvas icon, and this is what I've got open for Designer Plus, the Embroidery Canvas, so that's where that will take you. And the third one is the Embroidery Library, and that is the same in both Creator level and Designer Plus level. If you've got a graphic, you can convert it. If you've got a design, there's a convert button here to convert it to a graphic. And again, I don't think that should be there in the creator level because you don't have the artwork canvas to convert a design back to a graphic. Then as we come along, we've got new, so you can open a new design. You can open an existing design by navigating to the folder. You can open recent designs. You can save. You can print. You can do a print preview of what will be printed, the information about the design. You can send to your machine, and you can send to via Wi-Fi. So this send to your machine has always been there in all the previous versions, and it basically allows you to send the design directly to your USB stick, or if you have your machine connected to your computer, you can send it via cable to the machine. and there's a couple of other options for older machines, cards, etc. The next one is the Wi-Fi icon, and that doesn't come standard with the Creator level. It comes standard with the Designer Plus level. You have to purchase the Wi-Fi device separately. That allows you to send a design from your computer wirelessly to your machine, provided your machine is turned on and it's connected via the Wi-Fi app that comes with the Designer Plus software, and I presume would come with the Wi-Fi attachment if you bought it separately for the Creator Plus. So you can buy that Wi-Fi attachment if you so desire, and that's why that button's there. Then you've got cut, copy and paste, which is the same, undo, redo. Here you can insert a design, which is a little bit different than opening. Inserting a design puts the design straight into the workspace without opening a new design page. You can also insert a graphic. So for those of you who want to work with graphics, you still can do that in Creator, but you need to open them here and you work straight with them in the Embroidery Canvas. I'm not sure if you can open as many formats by inserting a graphic this way as you can with the Embroidery Canvas in Designer Plus. I think your format designs, I'll have to check on that, but I think your formats are a bit more restricted. Then you've got your object properties, your settings and your other settings. I always get these mixed up, but they're basically shortcuts to your different settings that you can adjust, and then you can choose metric or imperial or US, it usually says. Then you've got the overview window. So these are basically Docker type buttons here. So you've got an overview window which is in both, which will show you a little picture of where you are. If you're zoomed right in and you lose track of where you are in the design, if you have your overview window open, you can see where your cursor is and what part of the design you're looking at. Then you've got your colour film. That's the same in both. You have not got the pattern stamp. So up here you can see in the Designer Plus version there's a pattern stamp. That doesn't come with Creator. There's the morphing tools and the cut work tools. They are there. Then we've got our travel toolbar I don't know whether I've moved these or not, but in the version Designer Plus, the travel toolbar is here. It's just a little on the other side of this zoom tool. So this allows you to travel through the design by colour or by object, or from one end of the design to the other in one foul swoop. So that's a very useful tool, and that's in both versions. Then we've got our zoom tool and panning tool, which is the same in Designer Plus as it is in Creator level. On the bottom row, I won't go through them all individually, but all of these are the same right through to when we start to look at these buttons here. We have got show bitmap and show vector. We've got show the applique fabric. We've got our hoop grid, our design grid. We've got show rulers, and that's all in the Creator level. But up in the Designer Plus, we've got some workspace template things. Well, they come in. We can decide what size. If we're doing a square project, we can create a workspace the size that we're working on as a guide to put our design in, and we can do that as a quilt or as a just a normal embroidery design. So we've got those two workspaces that aren't in Creator Plus. Okay, so you can see there's not much that's missing from there. Probably the biggest one is the pattern stamp. These quilt workspaces, you could always create a very light density stitch area in the background and just delete it before you save your design to use as a guide. So that's not as crucial as, or you could bring in an image of a rectangle. There are ways around using these tools that come in Designer Plus, some of them, but there's no way around using this pattern stamp. You've either got it or you haven't. So that's probably the biggest one in the top menu that's not available in the Creator. Okay, let's go now to the side toolbars. and I need the edit one first. I haven't got these in order, sorry. I'll just, whoops, back one. So in the edit toolbox, so these are our toolboxes with all our tools for doing various things with our designs. And if I bring that image back up, and I'm just going to get it closer to the menu so you can see it better. Okay, so if I bring this across, and I'll make it a bit longer so that it gets to about the same size writing wise. Okay, so in the edit toolbox, we cannot add holes in creator level or remove holes in creator level. We can add stitch angles and remove stitch angles. That's in both versions. We don't have double run in the creator level, and we don't have blackwork run in the creator level. We do have the new branching tool and the new apply closest join. That's to reapply the closest join if you've moved objects around in your design. So they're both there. There's no color blending tool in the creator level, and there's no fill holes tool. Outlines and offsets is in both versions. The quilting background is not there, and neither is create trapunto outlines, so you can't do the trapunto work that you can do in the Designer Plus in the creator level. Break apart is in both versions. Remove overlaps is in both versions. Weld is in both versions. The knife and stitch edit are in both versions. And so if you're big into quilting, that quilting background actually is quite good. So if you're big into quilting, you probably won't want the creator level. There's more about that coming up. So, okay, that's the edit toolbox. And if we go to the auto digitize toolbox, so with the auto digitize, you can do nearly everything. In fact, probably everything that you can do in Designer Plus as you can do in the creator level for auto digitizing. I'll just double check, but it looks like everything is there. Magic 1, 4, yep. So auto digitizing, all the tools are in both the levels of the software. Okay, so let's go to the digitizing tools now. Here we go. Digitize. Now you can see that there's far less tools in the manual digitizing. So these are manual digitizing tools, and you can manually digitize in the creator level. So this creator level is good for people who want to do very basic logos and simple designs, because you can actually manually digitize simple shapes and open and closed objects. So we've got the open object, the closed object, the ellipse tool, the rectangle tool, and the buttonhole tools. We have not got the freehand tools, which is your ability to actually draw any shape freehand with an embroidery stitch. We don't have block digitizing, and we don't have the punch work, which is something that comes with a Designer Plus for the punchwork tool that goes on Bernina machine. So if you don't have a Bernina machine, you won't miss that punch work. The buttonholes are there. The pattern stamp, as I mentioned before, it's not up in the tools up here, and it's not down here in the digitizing tools either. There's no basting stitch marker, which helps you create basting stitches when you're doing multi-hooping, and likewise there's no graphic marker either for helping you to align your designs. So you have to rely totally on the grids to align your design. Okay, so now lettering and monogramming. Okay, there's only two options with lettering and monogramming, and that is lettering or monogramming. But in the version 9 Designer Plus level, they introduced the keyboard design collection, which is a way of mapping embroidery designs to keyboard strokes. So if you purchase a design collection of alphabet letters that are actually designs, not a font. There's no way with the Bernina software of loading additional embroidery fonts into the software. You can convert TrueType fonts to embroidery fonts with mixed success depending on the font, but you cannot add additional embroidery fonts to the software. However, if you some designers sell design collections that are individual designs for each letter, and to make it easier for you to type names and so forth, you can actually map those to the keyboard if you have the full Designer Plus version, but you can't do that in the creator level. Okay, applique. Right, so in the applique we have got digitize applique with holes, convert to applique, the remove, but we don't have the advanced applique tool. Now the advanced applique tool is great because it allows you to create appliques that have borders around them that are not necessarily a closed satin border. So you can actually have objects that form the border. Any gap that's completely surrounded by objects of any sort, more or less, can be done with turned into an applique with the advanced applique. So if you like applique, you probably want to go for the Designer Plus level, but if you just want to do badges or simple appliques, then the creator level will be sufficient. Now, the break apart tool has been added to the applique menu. It is also in the edit menu and it's in both versions. Also, we can now export a cutting file from both versions to so we can use it in a cutting machine, such as some sort of cutting machine. So they would be, you can, for instance, create an SVG file of your design so that you can use it as a cut line. Now, combine applique, that is new to version 9 Designer Plus and is not available in the creator level. Okay, cut work and stump work. So you can see that there's quite a few more tools in the cut work and stump work, because basically stump work is in the Designer Plus level of the software, but not in the creator level of the software. However, you can digitize cuts for cut work, and you can digitize pieces to cut that have a cut line to cut them out, and you can digitize holes to be cut with your cut work tool. So this is basically, if you have the cut work tool for your Bernina machine, you can, if you're very clever, work out how to do it on other brands of machines. You just have to make sure you put the right needle in at the right time. They don't correspond directly. The needles on the Bernina machine, the angle of the blade on the Bernina needles, position 1 is not the first needle in your set of cut work needles. And you've got convert to cut work border, but you cannot cut a closed border. You can't cut a buttonhole slit, and of course these last three relate to stump work. So because there's no stump work options in the creator level, you won't need those tools either. So stump work basically is where you create lines that are going to stitch over wire so that you can create freestanding wired pieces to make three-dimensional embroideries. So if you want to go in, if you're right into that sort of craft side of embroidery, you might want to consider getting the Designer Plus level, but if that doesn't appeal to you, you're not going to miss it. Okay, mirror merge. So mirror merge is exactly the same in each of the two softwares. So you've got mirror merge horizontal, vertical, and horizontal and vertical. You can create an array, you can reflect, and you can create wreaths with your designs. So that's lots of fun, the mirror merge. You can create all sorts of combinations using that tool, and you've got that in both levels. The layout tool, so again, this refers to define work area. These work areas that were up here shortcuts to them up here in the top toolbar. You can create layouts of your designs that automatically send the design to all four corners of a square, or create a wreath in a certain size circle. You can create all of that in this layout, and you can auto center designs into the quilt block, and you can auto fit your design to your quilt block. So if your design's a little bit too big to fit in the quilt block, you can just with one click resize it to fit the quilt block. None of that is available in the creator level. Okay, the arrange toolbar should be more or less the same, and yep, I can't see any differences there at all. So that the arrange toolbar basically is the toolbar to line up your elements of your design, and you might want to align them to the left, right or center, top, bottom or center horizontally, or you might want to just align all the centers, and you also might, you've got the option to space evenly up and down or across between two elements of the design, and you group and ungroups here, but it's much quicker to right click on your workspace and click on group or ungroup, or than actually go into the arrange menu, but they're there if you need them. Okay, now multi-hooping. Okay, it doesn't look like you've got any options for multi-hooping in the creator level. That is a bit of a drawback if you want to do big designs that are bigger, well, basically designs that are bigger than your hoop, and you're going to have to re-hoop. These tools are very useful for that. So if you like doing big designs, then you'll need to consider going into the Designer Plus. Unless you are very good at manually aligning with grids and templates. It can be done, it's just a lot more difficult. Alright, and then applications. There are two applications that come with the Designer Plus. They've always come with the full level of the Bernina software, and that's the cross-stitch application and the quilter application, and they don't come with the creator level. So in essence, you've got some manual digitizing tools, you've got all the auto digitizing tools, you've got some editing options, and of course you do have object properties for each object that you can edit as well. You have cut work but not stump work. You've got your mirror merge and your wreaths and so forth. You're arranging, lining up your design elements. So you've got a lot of tools that are very useful. It's just that you don't have the quilt layout tools, the multi-hooping tools, the cross-stitch or the quilter application, the keyboard mapping for your lettering, and your editing tools are a little bit less, you've got a few less editing tools available. Okay, now let's have a look at the types of stitches you can use in both levels. Alright, so in the Designer Plus level, I've got that at the bottom here, and we can digitize outlines of a single run, a triple run, or this one that is a quilt look run, which does a bold stitch, then a faint stitch, then another bold stitch. They're in both levels. The stem stitch and back, or there might be back stitch and stem stitch are in both levels. The zigzag stitch is in both levels, and the satin outline, triple satin outline and blanket stitch are all in both levels of the software. However, Designer Plus also has some black work elements that can be used as a run of they're basically decorative stitches and candle wicking stitches, and also all the pattern runs. So you do have a pattern fill, I believe, in the creator level, but you can't use it as an outline. So with the fills, if I move this along a bit, we've got our normal step fill in both levels, satin and triple satin in both levels. We've got our fancy fill, which is your satin stitch with an embossed look on it, with all sorts of pattern options. And then we've got our pattern fill, which is an more open decorative stitch fill. Now in the Designer Plus level, we additionally have Contour Fancy Fill, which allows our fancy fill to go around curves. We also have a I forget what this one's called, but it's basically a spiral fill that fills the object by going around and round and round it. There's also a contour fill in Designer Plus, the blackwork fill, and the candlework fill, a lacework fill, which is another open stitching. It's not freestanding lace by any means, but it's a lacy type fill. Pattern fill's another open lacy decorative style stitching. Designer Plus also has the cross stitch fill and stippling fills, 3 different sorts of stippling fills. So you can see that although you have some really good digitizing stitches at your disposal with the creator level, you get a lot more with the Designer Plus level. Okay, the next 2 tools that were on the end here are basically if you want to, they're shortcuts to select or delete the underlay, so add or remove underlay, and textured edge. Now in the Designer Plus you also have a mitre corner choice on your satin outlines. You also have the couching tool, which basically gives you a better visualization of any design you create to use with your couching tool on your embroidery machine. And there's a star fill, a wave fill, the global effect, and that might be the contour fancy fill. There's 2 different ones. There's 2 different fancy fills in the Designer Plus, and they do slightly different things. So as you can see, again, we've got a lot more tools in the Designer Plus level, but it depends whether you really need them straight away or not. So if you're a beginner and you want to explore the art of digitizing, the creator level is a good place to start. You can later upgrade to the Designer Plus level if you find this is really for you, because you do get a lot of fills and manual stitching, plus all the auto digitizing tools, fonts, etc. Now there are less of the fonts and there are less of the fancy stitches from memory. I'm just having a quick look. So in the creator level, built-in embroidery fonts are 60, whereas in Designer Plus there's 104. I'm just looking what else. Basic fills in the creator level, the basic fills are the same. But the special fills, there's 562 in the creator level and 892 in the Designer Plus level. You are restricted in the creator level by the amount and number of fills and fonts, and those applications and tools I mentioned before in the toolboxes here. I hope that's given you a good outline of the differences and helped you make your decision. Comment below if you'd like to know more about any particular tool that I've mentioned in this video, and if you'd like to know more about the software.